Inside the stories that affect you. This is Inside KELOLAND.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Perry Groten. The countdown is on to the holidays, but with the pandemic still going and supply chain shortages, festivities may once again look different this year. Coming up on this week's Inside KELOLAND, we'll talk with Avera Health on the latest information about COVID-19 and the vaccines as people start to get their booster shots. Then we'll take a look at how the supply chain bottleneck is impacting local businesses as many people try to get their holiday shopping done early. We'll also show you what the product shortage could mean for the winter months. That's all coming up over the next half hour here on Inside KELOLAND. Well, let's begin now with the latest on the pandemic. Joining us now is Dr. David Bassel with Avera Health. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Bassel.
Thank you for having me, as always, Perry.
Well, let's talk about overall trends that we're seeing as far as COVID-19 goes. Our cases are going down, or what are we seeing with that and hospitalizations?
We're cautiously optimistic that things may be starting to level out a little bit. We've seen our spread rate kind of come right back to 1.0, which is kind of that level rate, and our hospitalizations system-wide for Avera have stayed pretty level for the last week to 2 weeks, and so that's some pretty good signs that maybe we're starting to see a slow leveling off of this.
Yeah, what does that tell? Yeah, what does that tell you as far as why are we seeing that to be the case, do you think?
You know, so it's kind of a combination. We're getting more people vaccinated all the time. We've had a good response to some of the booster vaccinations with Pfizer that's coming on, and so we're getting more people protected. At the same time, I think that folks have realized that it's back in the community, and so have been taking a little bit better care to stay home when they're sick and try to do a little bit more social distancing. And so we've just kind of starting to put Genie back in the bottle a little bit.
But now we got Halloween coming up just a few days from now. What should people do as far as precautions regarding that?
Yeah, so the great thing about Halloween is that it tends to be an outdoor holiday. And so I think it'll be a little bit easier to do some trick-or-treating this year. Make sure you wash your hands a lot, you know, in between houses. Bring a little bit of alcohol along like that in a hand wipe form of things. But
plus, you'll wear masks one way or the other. Right,
right, exactly.
But and also we have the holidays coming up. We got Thanksgiving and Christmas as well. What should people be doing? Thinking about that as with COVID-19 still in the picture.
Yeah, so hopefully most families are vaccinated at this point, and so it is relatively safe to get back together in groups of fully vaccinated individuals. One thing to think about, and now is the time to think about it, it's a good time to get those over age 65 their booster now so that they're as fully protected as possible going into that holiday season before gatherings type of activities. And so certainly now is the time to get that booster dose for those over 65.
Yeah, let's talk about the booster dose. Who should be getting those now?
Right. So Pfizer came out, you know, a few weeks ago, got authorization to do boosters in those 65 years of age and older, and that's the most important group. And so as we look at hospitalizations, there's two distinct populations. You know, the vast majority of them are the unvaccinated population that's still getting admitted, still dying, still a big problem, younger ages than last year. But we are seeing a smaller group of individuals that are that 65 plus population that are starting to see some breakthrough from early vaccinations. And so those 65 and older, it's really important to get their boosters. And so that's the most important group. It was also authorized in ages 18 to 64 if you've got high-risk medical conditions, you know, heart disease, lung diseases, all of those risky conditions. We've gotten comfortable knowing this last year. And to consider it for 18 to 64 if you're in a high-risk occupation where you can't socially distance from others. Healthcare workers are a classic example that could consider getting a booster. So the most important ones to get the booster, and that's an absolute recommendation, is those 65 years of age and older. The younger ages can consider it if they're either got high-risk clinical conditions or if they're a high-risk occupation.
Have a lot of people in South Dakota been taking advantage of those booster shots?
We've certainly seen an uptick in vaccinations, and most of those are boosters at this point. We still got a few people trickling in getting their first shots, but definitely there's been interest in boosters. And I think here now with Moderna and Johnson & Johnson on the edge of getting approved, we'll see another big bump when next week or two.
Do those booster shots have any kind of after effect?
So the data shows that getting a third shot, that most of the reactive symptoms are what you're seeing, the pain at the injection site, some achiness, those sorts of symptoms are about the same or maybe slightly less than after the second shot. And so that's what we're seeing pretty consistently, is that how people react to the second shot is how they're going to react to the third.
Let's talk about vaccinations for kids under age 12. Where do we sit with that now?
Yeah, so that's really exciting, is that now in the next week to 2 weeks, we'll see both the FDA subcommittees and the ACIP, the CDC subcommittee, both look at Pfizer ages 5 to 11. And the early money is on that they probably will approve that in that age group, probably the first week of November that will become available. And so that's a really exciting step forward, because if we can get that reservoir of school-aged children that are more likely to be asymptomatic in their infections but still spreading it, if we can kind of take some of them out of the picture, then I really think we'll start to see the numbers drop off.
The dosage is different for children as opposed to adults?
Yeah, so it's essentially going to be about a half dose. With the children being smaller, it'll be a smaller, same formulation, just a fewer number of copies of the vaccine.
Do you foresee a lot of parents wanting to get their kids vaccinated then?
Yeah, so at least we think in the initial surge, probably at least a third will get them initially, and then it'll probably trail on after then, and hopefully that's enough to kind of knock it down in the schools. I know I've got an 8-year-old that the second gets approved that day will be in the office getting it.
Let's talk about General Colin Powell, who passed away this last week due to complications from COVID-19. Now he was immunocompromised, and some people say his death shows that vaccinations don't work, even though he was vaccinated, but he was immunocompromised.
Yeah, he was such a special case. So he had what's called multiple myeloma. So he had a cancer of the B lymphocyte plasma cells. So those are the cells that create antibodies. And so his antibody-producing cells were cancerous, so they weren't very effective at making antibodies in the first place, and so probably didn't react very well or very effectively to the vaccine. And then he was probably taking medication to suppress those cancerous cells on top of it, which even suppressed even more his ability to either A, respond to the vaccine, or B, respond to the infection. And so he's kind of had the worst thing you could have to try to fight off COVID. And so kind of a double strike problem for him.
What do we see with breakthrough cases? They do occur, though, right?
Yeah, so the vaccine is, 90–95% protective, but it's even more effective against protecting against hospitalization and death. And so it's really rare for somebody these days to die from COVID that's fully vaccinated. When they do, we've seen it, it's usually they've got active cancer under treatment, those sorts of individuals. Now, time and again, what we're seeing, the people in the hospital and the ICU are the unvaccinated ones. So the data is very clear that even though it's not totally protective, it's really going to knock it down to where instead of you having a hospitalization with COVID, you've got the common cold. And that's been the goal all along. If we can turn COVID into the common cold, I think we can all live with that.
Yeah, we certainly can. Well, thank you for joining us for Inside KELOLAND, Dr. Basso.
All right. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Well, after the break, we'll look at the logjam of cargo ships and the trucker shortage that's impacting the country's supply shortage. That's coming up next. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. Ports in California are now running 24/7 operations to alleviate the logjam of cargo ships. That backup is leading to nationwide shortages and raising consumer prices. Personal computers and video game consoles, as well as toys, have all been affected most by supply chain issues. Economists say the logjam is partially due to a change in consumer spending patterns during the pandemic. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg says the situation at the ports is a complicated issue. The Biden administration says the backlog will likely continue into next year. Also compounding the supply chain problems, a shortage of truck drivers across the country. And that shortage is being felt on roads in KELOLAND as well. But the lack of drivers is nothing new for companies like K&J Trucking.
This is my oldest truck.
Doug Newman spent 21 years in the button-down world of banking.
I worked at Citibank for a little over 7 years. I worked for Premier Bank Card, and my last job was with Wells Fargo.
But Newman decided to shift gears and switch from banking to trucking.
I just made the decision that I was going to go over-the-road trucking 6 years ago, and 6 years later, I'm now up to 4 trucks and not going to go back.
Newman hopes other drivers will follow his lead and make the career move.
You know, out on the road, that's all you see is trucks, but we have trucks here that are sitting empty because we can't find a driver.
Well, I'm just going to be honest with you, we pray. We weekly pray for drivers.
K&J Trucking has been dealing with a driver shortage for years. Pay increases help bring in more workers, but the company president says the industry still isn't paying truckers what they're worth.
Our normal driver here can make around $75,000 a year. I think until we can get to around $100,000 a year, we're not going to see much of. So we have a ways to go.
It turns out truckers themselves are the best recruiting tool for K&J whenever they refer potential hires to the company.
And so we reward our current drivers for referrals, and that's just what we do.
The company recently raised its referral bonus from $500 to $2,000.
There's a highway patrolman.
But for truckers like Newman, the real payoff is spending their workday on the open road.
I'm a professional tourist. I get to see the whole country.
Now, K&J also offers more family-friendly routes. Drivers can choose to be long haulers that take them cross-country for 2 weeks at a time, or they can opt for shorter routes that can include just 1 day on the road before it's back home again. Now, if you're thinking of getting behind the wheel, you can check out job openings by going to this story on KELOLAND.com. The supply chain disruptions and delays in deliveries are creating challenges for many businesses ahead of the holidays. KELOLAND's Sarah McDonald shows how some business owners are navigating these uncertain times.
Sarah Jameson is the owner of Tara Shepherd Boutique and Apothecary. She's already started ordering holiday items for her store.
I started getting our Christmas and holiday items in August and early September, because after going through 18 months of the pandemic, I don't think anything is a surprise anymore, so planning ahead has been huge.
She says she's been noticing an increase in shipping prices.
A retailer, we pay to have our goods shipped to us, so we are seeing that increase in shipping. And on the other end of it, we are seeing an increase in shipping rates to our customers as well.
Owner of Juniper Apothecary, Brittany Sopko, is also facing challenges.
We've been seeing a lot of increase in my ingredient costs, and then a lot of my normal suppliers that I've been getting my ingredients from are out, or it's on extreme back order, or they've increased the price significantly.
Sopko says she's working on ordering ingredients now to make sure she's able to keep up with the holiday shopping demand.
I want to keep my stock or my ingredient supply deeper than what I would traditional years. I want to keep everything in stock and make sure that nothing's out of stock for my customers come closer to the December 24th.
So while the holidays may be a few months away, both say they're staying positive and doing what they can.
Can't let things like that put a lot of stress on us. We've learned as small retailers we're very resilient, but we just have to be proactive and think ahead of what is going to be best for our business in the long term.
In Sioux Falls, Sarah McDonald, KELOLAND News.
Now, both businesses recommend that you want to ship any packages sooner than usual so they reach their destinations on time due to the slower shipping times. So when should you get your gifts in the mail? The U.S. Postal Service says for first-class mail and first-class packages, you should get your holiday presents in the mail by December 17th. You have until December 18th for priority mail. For FedEx, you should ship packages by December 9th for ground economy, but you have until December 22nd for two-day shipping. And UPS says if you want to get your gift to there on time, ship by December 21st for second-day air. Well, after the break, it's not just holiday gifts impacted by the supply chain issues. We'll look at the furniture shortages after the break. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. If you're just joining us, we've been looking at the supply chain issues across the country and the impact it's having on South Dakota. Joining us now is Corey Price, the CEO of Furniture Mart. Thanks for joining us, Corey.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, we've shown our viewers many of the products that are waiting to be unloaded in ports in California. How is that impacting the furniture industry?
Yeah, it's definitely slowing down our shipments. It's a challenge for our customers. When we were hoping to get it to them, there's kind of some unforeseen delays.
Yeah. So how do you deal with something like that then?
Well, the first thing we try and do is communicate with the customer the best information we have possible. We may try and find alternate routes of transportation. Our buying team is working overtime to do what we can to get the product to our warehouses. Some other things that we focused on is stocking up on product. Going into Q4, we expect it to be really strong. Demand is really strong. We want to meet that customer demand. So we are, currently we're expanding our warehouse, and we have a lot of inventory on hand. So when customers need something, we have it for them.
And the holiday shopping season is a crucial time for the furniture industry, right?
Absolutely. Families are getting together finally, and they want to sit around a new dining set, sitting on a new living room set. So we want to have something for them when they come into one of our stores.
What are there any types of furniture that are harder to get than others?
We're seeing dining, bedroom, some of the wood products that are made in Malaysia and Vietnam. We're seeing a challenge with some of those. So we have figured out a way to work with some of our partners, buy domestically out of warehouses, and do, again, what we can to have it on hand, have something on hand for them.
Mm-hmm. Does your industry, does it make it all the more tougher because you're dealing with large-scale merchandise as opposed to like pens and pencils or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's affecting all industries.
Yeah.
You know, there's a shortage across, and the companies, again, what we've tried to do is just have it on hand. But we're definitely feeling the same pressures, and I don't think there's an industry that isn't affected by the shortage across the country and across the world.
Mm-hmm. Is what's happening now, is that going to impact what customers pay for their furniture in the future?
Yeah, there's been some surcharges. We as a company tried to minimize that. We've tried to find different partners that may be offering something very similar that costs less, that they may have on hand. But we have seen a slight increase in furniture across, as all goods have, consumer goods.
What are these shippers telling you as far as when you place an order? What do they tell you as far as you'll get it when you get it kind of thing? Or what?
That's, you know, again, that's a great question. Some partners are better than others. Again, we've tried to push, if a customer comes into our store who is wanting something fairly soon, you know, we kind of might shift them towards a certain product. If they are wanting something more custom, we just kind of let them know that it could be a while.
Yeah. When did you start seeing this? Did things start to fall into place that you realized this could be problematic for us?
Well, it's definitely been in the last year.
Yeah.
Again, we've kind of changed our approach to, instead of a wait and see, to be a more proactive. Right now, we've tried to stock up and have it on hand. We're buying more than we would in, say, a normal business time, and we're just trying to work our way through it to have it for the customer.
Mm-hmm. What do you tell customers who are anxious to get their living room or their dining room sets and that kind of thing?
Yeah, we certainly, it's frustrating for both the business and for the consumer. We try and give them the best information that we have. We do have a lot of in-stock products, so we do then give them an alternate solution if they would like something, maybe not their first choice, but their second choice be in stock and something they can get sooner. And it's amazing. Some customers are just willing to wait 6 months to get exactly what they want. So there's still that out there too.
When do you see all this ending?
Well, I don't know if I could answer that for you, but it's certainly getting better. There's certain companies out there that we work with that are doing a better job than others, and we've started to work more with them. You know, I see into next year, possibly kind of relieving pressure, things starting to flow a little bit better, but there may be challenges that are lurking around the corner that we haven't quite seen yet or aren't aware of. So we're trying to stay ahead of it.
Sure. We only have about 20 seconds. Are you still looking forward to the holiday shopping season then for your business?
Absolutely. We're getting stocked up. We're ready to go. We have some good deals. And again, it's a crazy time, but it's certainly a good time. With more people spending time at home because of the pandemic, they're certainly shopping us a little bit more.
Sure. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Corey.
Thank you.
And coming up after the break, what the supply chain issues could also mean for some very important equipment in the winter months. That's coming up. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. If you're just joining us, we've been showing you how the supply chain issues are impacting businesses in South Dakota. And as the winter months get closer, the shortages could also mean fewer snow blowers. KELOLAND's Bridget Bennett explains.
It did start a year ago. It is getting a lot worse. Nothing's getting where it's supposed to be.
After decades in the business, Ideal Yardware owner Corey Hansen says this past year is the first time ordering product has ever been this unreliable.
We're supposed to get snowblowers August, don't get them. September, don't get them. October, they keep pushing the dates back.
The same thing happened with lawnmowers this summer, where deliveries are shipping months or even a year behind schedule.
I've ordered lawnmowers for next year already, and some of those are into September as far as when we're going to receive them. It's really difficult as a business owner.
While it may look like you have plenty of choices right now, there's actually only about half of the models here to choose from. And Hansen says once the first snow falls, these won't last long.
Today, it literally won't be here tomorrow. The first major snow or any minimal snow of the year, the first cold day of the year, people buy stuff and it's just gone.
Ideal Yardware started this August with about 300 snowblowers. They expect inventory will be totally gone by next month.
We're down in the low 100s now, and honestly, by the end of October, we'll be out unless we get more shipped to us, which doesn't look real good.
Hansen has hundreds of snowblowers on order since the spring, with shipping dates that just keep getting pushed back.
Some are out till March now. Is that even useful for you?
Getting snowblowers in March won't be useful. I'll still take them because we've actually heard that in 2022 from every manufacturer we deal with that it's going to be worse than this year. Far worse. So we take whatever we can get.
And that was Bridget Bennett reporting. The problem is that manufacturers are struggling to produce any more products, in part due to staffing issues. But the supply chain challenges are also impacting their ability to make more snowblowers or lawnmowers as they wait on components like computer chips or springs to arrive. On top of a shortage of products and delays in shipping, gas prices are also on the rise. Right now, drivers are paying $3.27 a gallon in South Dakota. That's about $1 more than what we were paying at this time last year.
It's definitely gotten people's attention as they head to fill up their tanks. But gas prices have been on the rise for quite a while, most of this year, in fact. But most recently, we've seen a pretty big jump, and that's largely due to the cost of crude oil.
The primary driver of this surge remains the cost of crude oil, which is now $80 a gallon, or a barrel rather. That's not the only gas that you'll be paying extra for. As the weather starts to get cooler, you may want to turn on the heat in your home, but this winter it will likely cost more to stay warm.
Natural gas prices have hit and have been caught in that perfect storm. You have lower supply, higher demand. So right now we have seen a 99% or 100% increase from last year at this time.
And that, of course, means your heating bill could double from last year. To keep costs down, make sure your furnace is running as efficiently as possible. That includes changing the furnace filter frequently and leaving your thermostat at a reasonable temperature all day long. That's all the time we have for this week's Inside KELOLAND. If you'd like to learn more about today's topics, head to KELOLAND.com. And be sure to join us again next week for more of what's going on inside KELOLAND.